Okay, looks like we're live
Okay.
on Facebook. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is Tim Watson here with Master Dawn Khan. Ma'am, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me.
Good afternoon, good morning, all my family and World Tang Soo Do family in the USA. I feel honored to do this. I've never done a live or any interview. I've done a magazine interview, and that's as far as I've ever gone. So thank you, Master Watson, for the opportunity, and obviously for Master Khan starting me on this journey, Grandma Shin, Grandma Spodwin. And before I start, can I just dedicate this interview, as I feel very honored to be doing it and representing World Tang Soo Do and Great Britain Tang Soo Do, dedicate it to our fallen warriors, especially like Grandma Shin, Grandmaster Bodman. They were my two father figures, and I will explain further on in the interview why. Grandma Shin was a father to us all, so was Grandmaster Bodman probably, but they have a special place in my life. So I'd like to dedicate it to them and all our other fallen Tang Soo Do warriors. Our first ever, we lost Master Bernarte. You know, I was so close to him, and it was a shock. His wife called me the day he got taken to hospital, and I was reassuring her it was going to be okay. But, you know, God has different plans. But all of our World Tang Soo Do fallen warriors, I have so many that inspire me. Every single one inspired me in a different way. And there's, you know, we've lost a lot. So this is dedicated to all of them in their memory and for inspiring me.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I think that's a very fitting way to start the interview.
Thank you.
I remember it seems like a while ago now in March when I think it was March when he passed, March or April, Master Bernarte.
Yeah, it was April, yes. It was,
And
I think, 2 weeks before his 50th birthday.
just the outpouring of love and support from everyone around the world was, again, it's just shows the World Tang Soo Do Association support to everyone is
definitely. There's nothing like it. I can guarantee you. I have so many people say to me, there is nothing, you know, like parents say our kids do, for instance, soccer or whatever they do. There's nothing like this martial art, this World Tang Soo Do. And even I've got parents who brought kids from other martial arts, and they say, gosh, your kids are so good. They behave, they're respectful, they don't run around. They said, and the family feeling. They said, and I said, well, our grandmaster and our founder wanted that family feeling, and that's what he achieved. So we're proud to be part of it.
Absolutely. I'm assuming we're going to have a lot of people saying hello. I'm just going to tell you a couple people that have said hi so far. Becky Shepard, Sadaf, Master Chapel, Yoshi from Region 5.
Hello, everyone.
I might be saying this wrong. Anita from Leicester, Tang Soo Do.
Yeah, Leighton Tang Soo Do. That's Selena, I think they call her.
Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and get started because I'm very interested in hearing your story. So let's talk about, obviously, you're in Great Britain now. Share with us how did you make it that way?
Okay. Yeah, it's a real long story. It'll probably take most of the day, so I'll just make it brief. So I was born and raised in Philadelphia. I actually lived in a town, and everyone from Philly probably heard of Kensington. It's a really bad place now, I know, but when I grew up and I reassured my daughters, we took them through Kensington now, and I suppose that's not really a prime example. It wasn't like that. It started getting that way as I got a little bit older, but I was born and raised there. At the age of 10, my mother suddenly passed away when I was 10. She had a stroke, but I lived a rocky childhood. I remember from the age of 3, my mom and dad weren't together. There was a lot of arguing used to go on when he came to visit to give her child maintenance money and stuff. So I grew up relatively quick. There was 4 of us. My sister who moved out, joined the Air Force when she was 18. My other brother who was married with a young son, and we all lived together because those days we didn't have much money. So that was the safest way to survive, really. And then my brother older than me, Don, who's actually in New Jersey. He moved out of Philly, went to New Jersey, and myself. So we all lived together. My sister moved out, and then my mom died when I was 10. So I stayed there with my brother and his wife and Don, and they had little hiccups along the way. My dad didn't really have a lot of involvement in my life. And then when I was 12, they had a bit of a problem. So I moved in California to live with my sister. She wanted custody of me and be my guardian. She did want that when I was younger, but it didn't go through. My mom obviously didn't want me to leave. So I went and lived with her in California when I was 12. I left Philadelphia. I left Philadelphia at the age of 12, moved to California. Well, I'd never been on a plane before. So the trip to California was very sort of daunting. I was scared. I never sat on a plane. My brother Don took me. I was only young. I lived in California with my sister. That was a big transition from Kensington. They were Air Force people living in base housing. And it was a shock to the system at first, but I soon adapted. And, you know, when you're young, you can adapt. I made friends. I went to junior high. I was a very, I lacked so much confidence, obviously, from my childhood. I grew up really quick. I mean, I was going grocery shopping for my mom when I was 8 because she was sick, you know, crossing big main roads. And I felt so proud of myself. I was like the little mom getting all the groceries and stuff. And then I moved to California, and it was instilled in me. So my sister had a young baby and a son, and I took over being the mom and took care of my niece Jennifer, and loved it. Went to junior high, made all new friends. It took a while because I was very shy. Built up a really good friendship group, and a lot of them, I think Beth inquired about watching, and Kim. I had such good friends, Linda and Alicia. They were all, majority of them are Air Force children from Air Force families because I lived in the Air Force housing. Some of them weren't. And then when I turned 15, my sister said, we're moving to England. We're getting, you know, sent over to England. My brother-in-law was getting reposted over there. So I was heartbroken. I just finished my freshman year at high school, had a good group of friends. And I said to my sister, Marge, I'm not moving, I'm staying. And she said to me, you can't stay. And I said, I can. She goes, no, I've got guardianship of you, you can't. Because I had one of my friends, her mom was going to take me in and take care of me. So anyhow, I said, I don't want to go to England. I had friends who just come back from England that were Air Force kids, and they said, there's nothing to do there. It's boring. And I was like, great. I don't want to go to England. I just finished freshman year. I was looking so much forward to my sophomore year. But anyhow, we moved, and my sister's words were to me, you might meet a nice Englishman and get married. And I said, look, I'm doing my 3 years there, graduating from high school, and I'm coming back. You guys can stay the 4 years. I'm only staying for 3 years. So anyhow, she had to come over here and get settled in her house while I stayed with my dad's girlfriend. Now, I hadn't seen my dad for a very long time. That poor woman, she had to deal with me. I was a bit of a wild teenager by now. So her name was Lee. She took care of me for, I think, 2 weeks. Don was around because he was my rock. You know, he had my back all my life. And him and my dad put me on a plane to England all by myself at the age of 15. I was petrified of flying because my journey to California. So I had this passport. I'd never seen a passport in my life. So here I am on the flight to England. I arrived in Heathrow, London Airport. I had to fill in a landing card. For first, my sister wasn't there to pick me up. She's probably going to kill me for saying this, but I arrived in this foreign country, no one to pick me up. I didn't know where I lived. I didn't have a contact number or nothing. So I was pacing up and down. I had them page her at the customer service desk thing. No one came forward, and I was getting frantic. It was probably about 20 minutes, half hour, but to me, it seemed like a lifetime. And this weird guy came to me because I was trying to use the phone. I didn't have money, and it's all British money. I didn't have British money. And he said, you know, do you need a ride? And I said, no. And he said, well, I can give you a ride. And I said, well, I don't even know where I live. So I got away from him and went back to page him again. Anyhow, long story short, I crossed paths with my sister when I was coming back from trying to page her. And I said to her, where have you guys been? She said, we got lost because they were new here. So trying to drive to London. So anyhow, I said, gone back to their house. They didn't get a house on the base, American base. So they couldn't even get a house off the base, which was American house. And so we were living in a British community. So around the corner from the British community was American housing for off-base Air Force people. So we moved there. I made a friend with a girl from there who went to school on base, and she had a British boyfriend. And then he introduced me to Master Khan, who I didn't know who he was. He was playing soccer. And I just said hi, and then that was the end of it. So my friend Tammy, her boyfriend Barry, and we hung out a lot. And then it was the night before Halloween, and I got in with the American kid group who were egging the British kids hot, and you know what they do the night before Halloween, egging the British kids. So anyhow, this guy came to find us, and he was going to beat Barry up and take care of us for picking on his brother or whoever it was. And we were scared to death. And Barry goes, "It's okay. I know someone who can take care of us." And I'm thinking, no, I don't know. I'll just go with them. I just hung out with them. So I go, and along comes this guy, Khan, that was going to take care of us. And he was the guy I met playing soccer. And then after that, we just all hung out, and then we became friends, and then we got together, and then the rest was history, really. But I wasn't planning on staying here. So I still blame it on him. I said, it's his fault, when I met you. And really, we were together for, well, not straight away, but we kind of built a friendship relation, and then we started seeing each other. And Barry was happy because then Con was part of our group. But even though Con said he didn't really know Barry real well. But he was Master Con was very well known in this area for his martial arts, because it was a small community, everyone knew him. We were together for 3 years, and I said, I'm going back home after 3 years. But he said, there's a culture difference, so we probably can never get married. But things change, and I'm a believer in fate. I'm a strong believer in fate. The way my life's been, it's definitely fate. And I'm not super religious, but I do believe God has plans for every one of us. And it definitely was a plan, because I had no intentions of staying here and making this my home. And this year I've been here 41 years, from the girl who said at 15, I don't want to go there and I'm not staying there. So life changed. It changed for the better, because I came from a really struggle as a child and as a teenager. Then my sister, and I owe her everything, and her husband. I mean, what brother-in-law takes on, he's got 2 kids of his own, and takes on a young teenager who's like a wild animal, because I had no, parents guiding me or anything. I did what I wanted. My goal in life was to get married, have kids, and be a teacher. That was my goal in life, because I had nothing. So really, to come here and for my brother-in-law to take me in and say, yeah, it's not easy, your sister, yeah, but not your brother-in-law. And then for being a difficult child, I mean, he was a disciplinarian, he was an Air Force guy, and he would put you in the right place. And I would say, you can't tell me what to do, you're not my dad. And then look here, he raised me up like his own. So fate does come back, and karma does come back, because I took care of Master Khan's brother, and I was the sister-in-law, and I had my brother-in-law living with me. And I reflected back to what it would be like for George. And I thought, wow, so yeah, I'm grateful to be here and have met Master Khan, and he's brought me on this journey, really. So even though I didn't want to come to England and I hated England, sometimes you end up loving what you hated. And that's my story of how I got here. So
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. It's funny, your Englishman messaged me and said, yes, I'm an Englishman.
Well, he wasn't an Englishman really when I met him, but he couldn't speak much English, but I was his teacher and I wanted to be a teacher. So it all worked out. We were meant We were meant to be together.
Awesome. Can you share some of the early memories of once you started to date and be together, his martial arts training, and what you thought about his training back then?
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you all. I love Tang Soo Do now, but Tang Soo Do, I was the second best. His first love was Tang Soo Do. And he made it very clear to me from the beginning. He said, I train 7 days a week. I think he boxed twice a week, and 5 days a week was Tang Soo Do. So he said to me, you know, you're going to have to come and watch me. This is what I do. And I was like, great. Every day I was standing watching it. And I got to admit, I hated it. I really did hate it because it kept us apart. Because when I wanted to do things, we couldn't because he had to go training. I remember many a times I would want to see him and he would say, no, I'm training. I got drug along to championships. But you know something? It never bothered me because I loved him and I wanted to be with him. So if it meant I had to sacrifice 2 hours to stand, and I literally stood there. I was in a big sports place. We would call it a leisure center here. So like a YMCA kind of thing. And I stood and watched him for 2 hours, even though I wasn't interested in any of it. But it was what he did. And I wanted to be with him. So yeah, I went and I just watched and watched. And I actually, I told him this a little while back that when I lived in California, me and my friends, I think it was just before I came here, probably about the age of 14, there was a karate school by the 7-Eleven we used to go to, just off of the base housing we lived on. And we used to be really curious. We wanted to know what they did in there. And then one time they put a big poster in the window advertising free self-defense course for women. So we wanted, it said, you got to come and sign up. So we went in to ask to sign up. And they said, sorry, you have to be 18. And we weren't 18. So there was maybe a little interest there. I don't know. I don't know if it's just being a young teenager and, you know, you're messing around or whatever. But there was that when we went in there, I thought, wow, this is cool, you know, but then I was always shy. So I wanted to do dance. I wanted to do like all my friends did, but I didn't have the courage. I was a nervous child. Obviously, I think that's from my upbringing. There was always a lot of arguments going on. I used to hide when my dad would come over. If I'm out at the playground, I seen his car, I would go back to the playground. So I was a nervous child and I lacked a lot of confidence. So I think there was interest there, maybe. But what I seen when he was with Mudokwan, it was a different thing. So there was no desire, but I did. And then he opened his own club after I was pregnant with Noreen, after we got married, and I helped him advertise. I did all his admin work. I've always done the admin work. I love organizing. And in fact, when I was in junior high, you could choose optional extra part of one of your lessons. And I chose to do office assistant. So you learn how to do filing and typing. And I really got a buzz from that. So I think from a young age, and I was very like that as a child. Everything had to have a place. It had to be on time, you know. So I think it was in me. So for him to ask me, can you help me organize starting a new club, as it's called in England? I got a buzz out of it, and I helped him advertise. I did all the admin. So really, from the day I met him and we started seeing each other, I was always involved in Tang Soo Do, not doing Tang Soo Do, but supporting it. I watched all the demos he did. I went to all his championships. In fact, the first championship he took me to, I almost got kicked out because as an American, I was loud. I was screaming, come on, you know. And the usher guy, the security guy came to me and said, I'm sorry, if you keep, you know, screaming and hollering, you're going to have to leave. And I thought, oh God, I'm just supporting the guy I love. So yeah, I went to all the championships and I supported him always. So really, even though I hated it, I did it for him. And I called myself the Tang Soo Do widow because that's what I was, but no longer now, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, I just some people are saying hi. You got Natalie Walker says, we love you, Master Don Khan.
That's my lady, yeah. My warriors.
Marinos from Greece says Tang Soo.
Yes,
Master Harvey says hello to our queen of GBT.
She calls me queen. That's a title she gave me, so I feel honored.
That's awesome. So moving forward a little bit, could you tell us about how you first met Grandmaster Shin and kind of the way that you were introduced to the World Tang Soo Do Association?
Okay, well, this is a good story. We went to Moscow. Never met my dad. And my sister wanted me to come over. I said, I'm homesick. I hadn't seen her. They left in 83. Yeah, because she seen Noreen born. Then she went back. They got stationed in Dover. So she went back, and I was lonely because she was still here. So I used to visit her, and then when the part of me had gone, and I knew I'd probably never go back home. So I said to her, we want to come visit. So in 84 or 83, was it 83? 83, I think. We went, yeah, 83, we went back. No, she went back 83. 84, we went back to see her.
Okay.
And Master Khan wanted to still train while he was over there. So he said, he gave me a number and he said, can you call this Master Lee for me? And just see when his classes run and stuff. I like to go and practice. So I said, yeah, sure. So I called, but it wasn't Master Lee. It was Master Ki-Yun Lee. Ki-Yun Yi, sorry.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't know the difference between the Tang Soo Do's or anything. So anyhow, Master Khan made arrangements to go meet him. He said, you can go see our Grandmaster Shin. So anyhow, we ended up in Oregon Avenue. My brother, his wife took us because my brother was at work. So my brother I had Noreen who was just two, yeah. And my nephew was just a year old. He's a year younger than Noreen. So we arrived at Oregon Avenue to this headquarters, and we had strollers. So we obviously brought our strollers there. And we entered the building, but Master Khan just left. He ran up the stairs. He was like a little kid. He just left me behind with this baby and a stroller, my sister-in-law with her. And he ran up these stairs, and you know them stairs were very steep. I don't know if you've seen headquarters, but they were lethal steps. So to get a baby up there was bad enough, but to take a stroller too. So anyhow, as we were struggling, me and my sister-in-law, this gentleman came down. I've obviously never seen anyone of Grandmaster Shin before. And he comes in, he took the stroller up, and then I carried Noreen up, and then he came down and took the stroller up, and then he carried my nephew Donnie up. She took Donnie up. And it turned out that he came out and he said, obviously Master Khan's waiting, looking at all the things hanging up, all the certificates and trophies and medals and everything, and looking at the dojang. And then Grandmaster came out and said, oh, are you Mr. Khan? He said, yeah. He said, oh, Grandmaster Shin. And Master Khan's jaw just dropped because here it was, he thought he was the cleaner or the janitor or something, because he didn't expect a Grandmaster to be so down to earth. I mean, to him, the Grandmaster he's seen was, totally different. His instructor and then Grandmaster Wang Ki, they were different sort of people. So he was totally shocked. He didn't know what to say. And then I think he felt a bit ashamed because he didn't carry the strollers up, and then Grandmaster Shin did. So from that day, I was overwhelmed. And he has such a great human he was to treat you like he did. He was same as us, I always seen Grandmaster as like a queen, like the royalty or the figurehead. So even though they are human beings, and don't get me wrong, they're great people, but if you don't know them as an outsider not practicing a martial art, they look like hierarchy. So, well, from that day, I thought the world of Grandmaster Shin. And then obviously Master Khan eventually had his own problems with his association. They suspended him, etc. You know the story. And Grandmaster Shin had said to him, he would like him to join, and he said he couldn't. He's loyal to his association and instructor. But if it comes to our country, yeah. So that again, fate, and it was meant to be. And then Master Khan actually did join World Tang Soo Do, and Grandmaster Shin, my first really experience after that with Grandmaster Shin, when he came to stay at our house in 1985. We had a seminar. Master Khan was now established with World Tang Soo Do. And he came, and we weren't well off. We couldn't put him in a hotel. We were just sort of getting by day to day, really. He was working, I wasn't, and, we had a house and bills. So we housed him and Master Kim in our house and really got to know him. And one thing I'll never forget is Noreen was only little, and she had this book she was reading, and she wanted to read it to him. And Mascon said, oh, no, 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 leave him. He was sitting in the living room with us. And he goes, no, no, she's going to sit on my lap and she's going to read me this book. And don't ever say to her no. I wanted to, he was so good with the kids, you know, that he was good with everybody, but he had a special place with the children. And that was my main memory of us first starting in Royal Tang Soo Do with this unbelievable grandmaster who was so compassionate and kind and caring. And he picked her up. We got pictures of him that day of holding her, and she was crying because obviously she's shy, she didn't know him. But she soon became her go-to, and while he stayed in our house, she kept going to him, and he loved her, and he had a real nice bond with Noreen because obviously she was our first child, and that's the first one he ever seen. So that was, those two memories stay with me a lifetime. But obviously I have many, many more, just like all of our Royal Tang Soo Do family have. But I think that was the best day of our lives when he came to England and we became part of this beautiful family that he created and founded. It's a blessing, I feel. I feel we're totally blessed. And when I reflect back to those days, there's such beautiful memories that will always remain with me till I'm no longer here. So we are honored that he came and stayed in our house. And then he'd come a few times after that, and Mascon made him dinner, and he wouldn't believe Mascon cooked that. And, you know, we had some real good times with him. So there is a void in our life, as in everyone's life, but at least we have them memories to cherish, you know. And when I went through, like I said, I had mental health issues and I had depression, he wrote me. And I know it was him because the words, you could tell Grandmaster's writing. And then when I got better, he said to me, I'm so glad you're getting better, you know. And I didn't get to spend much time with him after I recovered because then we lost him. So yeah, there's his many memories, but especially when he stayed in our house, those were very special memories.
Yeah, I love he was obviously a great martial artist, but far beyond that was his personality and the way he connected with people is why.
There's not many like him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many grandmasters like that, you know, in other associations. Our grandmasters were blessed with, but I'm just saying, out in that big wide world, we were very lucky, especially for that sort of time in martial arts era, really.
Absolutely. You had said, and I've heard from many that a lot of the masters that were similar to him were kind of cold and
yes,
you know, tried to keep their distance way more. And he was just such a personable.
He was, and he made us be part of a family, and that's what he wanted, and that's what we've got today. You know, it's such a bond. Even though I'm here in Great Britain all by myself, I have no family, nobody, but I do have family. You know, I got all my Great Britain Tang Soo Do family here with me, and they're same as my family. They're not obviously blood, but you know, they're here with me through thick and thin. When I struggle with depression, when I have other issues, they're just like having my own family. So I owe it all to Grandmaster Shin, really, for what he founded.
Your Master, I don't know if I can you can see that, but Master Khan.
Yeah, that's the picture I was talking about. That was in 1985 when he was visiting, and he picked Noreen up, and she was very shy.
That's great. So let's talk about your Tang Soo Do journey and how you got started in the martial arts.
Okay. Well, Grandmaster Shin, every time he seen me, or we used to send letters because there was no emails in the beginning. He would say, when you starting? And I used to say, nah, I'm not going to start. Actually, this is a secret I never really shared with much people, but when I lived on the base at Alconbury here with my sister, I said to Mascon, I want to try. So I was going to come to his class. He wasn't part of World Tang Soo Do then, in Ramsey, a small village that he used to teach. And I said, but you got to show me some techniques first, because I don't want to go there looking like a beginner. You know how you are when your spouse is the instructor. So he said, okay, so we just moved into this house on base. It's for Americans on the American base at Alconbury. and the floor was all laminated and shiny, and I had socks on. Well, he was showing me how to do. I want to do a spinning back hook kick.
Wow.
So I did a spinning back hook kick, and I twisted my ankle so badly I couldn't walk on it. So he said, "Come on, let's go." So we went to play pool because we used to go play pool at the community center on the bay. And I was walking around on it for about 2 hours, and it got bigger and bigger. And he said, maybe just get a bath or something. So I sat in the bath, which was the wrong thing to do because I was. So my initial start to trying to do Tang Soo Do was a failure because I couldn't walk for 6 weeks. And he didn't want me to tell my sister because he thought she would get upset with us. So anyhow, I just said, I'm not doing it. Forget it. And then I just carried on supporting him, transitioned to World Tang Soo Do. I built a relationship with Grandmaster because those days it was Grandmaster Grandmaster Shin you communicated with. So everything was great, doing my organizing like I like to do. And then I got pregnant with Aisha, our second daughter. Well, with Aisha, I had complications and I was hospitalized for six weeks before I had her. So I gained so much weight. I gained about almost 60 pounds. So I was big. And I said, I'm going on Cambridge diet. I think they had Cambridge diet in England. It was basically a shake diet. That's all you had, shakes and one little meal in the evening. So, and it wasn't cheap and we didn't have a lot of money. And he said to me, why are you spending all that money on that? Just come to class. You're there anyway doing all the admin work. And I said, no, I don't think so. He goes, honestly, you try. And, it will help you lose weight. You don't need to be on Cambridge diet. So I said, okay, look, on one condition, you never, ever ask me to do that test thing. I don't want to do the test. I don't want any belts. I just want to do it for exercise and to get healthy and fit. So I said, okay. So I came. There was one other lady in the class because in the 80s, there wasn't many women. So it was no pain, no gain training. You either did it and crawl out or you just quit. So I did it. I was buzzing the first night because obviously your first class, but you didn't have anyone assisting you because those days that didn't happen. You just followed the class. But because I've been watching for like how long now since I met him, so about 6 years, 6 years, 7 years. So I kind of got the basics, but then he's with World Tang Soo Do, things were different. So the way they taught was different, everything was different. But I started enjoying it. So my friend, the one lady that was in class, time came and she tested. And she got an orange belt. Was here's still me with my white belt, the only beginner at the back, the only female. And I thought, this isn't fun anymore because she's learning all this new stuff and I'm not learning nothing. So we got home one night and I said, do you think I can learn some of the stuff she's learning? Because, I want to learn all that. I've been doing this stuff for a long time now. And he said, no, you haven't tested. You said you didn't want to test, so you can't learn new stuff. And I was like, oh no. So I said to him, well, I think now I might want to do that test thing. So then I tested and then time went on, more ladies were joining. So we had like my best friend joined. And then obviously when your buddy joins, you're always got someone. We partnered off our partner teamwork and stuff. So then she moved on and moved away from the area. So then I didn't have my buddy anymore. So that was green belt. And it was make or break stage. And this comes to my mind every time. Grandmaster used to write a Grandmaster's Corner in the newsletters when they were paper, when they were like real good stuff. And he had one about the path on Tang Soo Do and how some students on the gut path, they exit on certain routes, they get, and green belt was that route, that either that makes or breaks you. You exit or you carry on the journey. And that I was going to exit then because my friend was gone. There weren't many women. But something inside of me, I guess that upbringing I had, that fighter instinct, that I'm going to do this. I had no goal. I didn't think I'm going to get to black belt. I just wanted to keep on this journey. I was enjoying it. I was there anyway, so why not just stay? I was losing weight, feeling good, feeling healthy. So the rest is history. I just stayed on that journey. I got excited when I got Charan Bo. I thought, wow, the next belt would be black belt. But then I got scared because that old me kicked in. I was still shy, lacked a lot of confidence. Every time I tested, I was feeling sick. I was, we all get it, but I was extra nervous. Being his wife made it harder because people expect you to be as good as him because you're his wife. I'm sure you felt the same in a different role because you were the husband. So yeah, and I stayed and I got my black belt, and Grandmaster Shin wrote me a nice letter to, congratulate me. And he was my father figure. To me, I had no dad, and Grandmaster Shin was my dad. I always could go to him and he would always support me. So I made black belt, and I thought this is the first thing I've ever achieved in my life by myself. Obviously, with the help of my husband, who was my instructor, which I owe him everything, and Grandmaster Shin and all the others who inspired me. And I was pretty proud of myself. The first time I ever did anything myself. Remember, I had no parents from the age of 10, so I grew up real quick. And I just kept going. And then next thing I know, I got invited, because in England, we do leadership and masters camp together. So it was our first ever leadership camp they did in 1999 in Scotland. And I got invited. And I thought, wow, this is Masters Camp. You're with the Masters. So it was a new, because I was the first female black belt in our classes here in the Huntington and St. Ives where we teach. So I felt really proud that never achieving anything in life to get black belt, and then to be in a Masters camp. So it just, I never said, like I suppose some people said a goal, I want to get to black belt, want to get to master. I never did that. I just kept going on the journey, and I was enjoying it. It was giving me a purpose in life. It was giving me something for me that I never had before. I yearned for that when I was a child, but didn't have the confidence to join any ballet class or I wanted to do tap dancing. And every time an opportunity came, I wanted to, but I couldn't. So really, this was a beautiful thing that I had no one to support me, but I did it. I had my husband and my family and Grandmaster Shin, but I did it on my own. I didn't quit because I was known to quit everything because I didn't have the confidence. So the rest is history, really. And I got my 5th dan, which I never, ever thought. 4th dan was just like a life goal. But 5th dan, when I suffered with mental depression, starting 2000, I would say after I had Sophia, my youngest, but I think that was postnatal depression, and it kind of, I denied it and I carried on with life. But in 2009, it really hit me hard, and I did struggle. And I was asked I spent 6 months in hospital, and then I recovered, thank God, with the support of obviously my husband, Master Khan, and my family, my GB Tang Soo Do family. Grandmaster Shin, I was saying, he wrote me many of emails saying, I'm happy to see you're getting better. He really kept in touch with me. And then I got back into training. It took a hard road to get back in. I lost all confidence again. And like I said to you, I had some treatment to like wipe my brain clear. It's called ECT, it was electrolysis shock to the brain. So I lost my long-term memory. So I thought my journey was over. But thank God I got back, and everything slowly came back. So, and I've come back as a different person, full of more confidence. I don't take anything for granted. I live life to the full. And I will do anything. I'm very compassionate anyhow. I have the heart that I will help anybody, whatever they need. I will do my best. I'm a giver. I'm not a taker, and I've been that way all my life. I think because I never had much, so I want to see people happy. So I'll do anything, and I want to fix things. And sometimes there's things I can't fix, but I do my best. So really, my journey continued. It had a little break. It halted unnecessarily, really, but I had no control over it. But I was eligible to test. It took me 12 years from my Sa-dan to my O-dan. I was eligible to test a few times. Grandmaster Bodwin actually came over in 2000, I want to say 2011. maybe 2010, he started coming over after we lost Kwanjanum Shin to do the master's clinics here. And I built a strong relationship with him. And then I was asked to test, I believe, in possibly 2012. Well, 3 times I was asked to test and I declined because I didn't feel ready. And the 3rd time I was asked, Kwanjanum Bodwin stood next to me at a champion. It was the European Championship. And I was just watching. I wasn't judging. They didn't need me at that time. And he just stood next to me and we were talking. And then he slowly grabbed my hand and interlocked our fingers. And he said to me, his words were, "He's hard on you, isn't he?" And I said, "Yes, Kwanjanum, he is." And he said to me, "You do it in your time, when you're ready." And I was so choked up. And every time I think about it, it gets me a bit emotional. So I won't go there. But what he basically was saying to me is, when you're ready, he knew what I went through. When you're ready to test, you will do it. And that day he held my hand, this feeling came over me that he believes in me. I can do this. If he believes in me, then what else do I need? So Grandmaster Shin told me, "I'll be fine. You're getting better." And then I lost him. So Grandmaster Bodwin said to me, so then all of a sudden after that, my whole attitude changed towards testing. And then I tested. And he watched me, he sat and watched me, and he said to me he was very pleased with me. But he didn't know how much them words actually meant. Because if he never said that, I think my journey would never carried on. I would have stayed at Southern. I was never worried about rank anyhow. As I said, this was just a journey I was on, but it gave me faith in myself that, yeah, I could do it, you know, and Master Khan watched me and I could see he was getting emotional. But you know what? It's the best I've ever felt when I tested. They could have asked me to fly and I would attempt it. Because I had this feeling that overcome me. I feel like Grandmaster Shin spiritually must have been with me. Grandmaster Bodwin was there, Master Khan. All those ones we lost, they were like, there was some feeling. I never felt like that before. And I don't think I'll ever feel like that again. That was just, I could never explain. I was on fire. That's how I felt, like I could do anything that I was asked to do. And even Master Robinson came up. Master Kevin Robinson was on my panel. He's seen me, he knew. He's seen me for the 2 years. The first year he came to the EU Master Clinic, he knew I was suffering with depression because he had his own issues. He suffered. So the next year I was picking up, but he said to me afterwards, I think he messaged me and he said, well, he asked me on the panel, from last year to this year, what made you so different? And I said, I believed in myself, sir. I said, I believed in myself, sir. And he said, you look so good. And it, you know, and I just thought, wow, I felt good, but I don't know how I looked. But that reassured me that, yeah. So that's Odam. I dedicate that to Grandmaster Bodwin because he's the one who got me there. So yeah, and that's why that picture I asked to use was a very special picture on the poster for this interview. Because I was telling you that in Holland, the last time I seen him last October 2019, I never asked anyone, can I take a picture with you? I'm quite shy and not very forward like that. And I just went up to him. For some reason, he was standing next to me. And I just went over to him a bit closer. And I said, Kwanjanum, could we take a picture together? I said, I don't have any pictures with you. And he said, yeah, of course. And he put his arm around me and we took a picture. And that was the last time I got to see him. So again, there's fate in life. So I was meant to have that picture with him and I cherish it. So yes, that was my journey and that's where I am today. And I'm happy to stay Odon for the rest of my life because it's a very special rank to me. But Sadam was special because Grandmaster Shin tied my belt around my waist. So that belt's been put away in a special place. And then this one has a real sentimental value too. So.
Amazing. I love that you shared this feelings of the people that inspired you. In seeing just the comments right now, you know, people are sharing that Gaynor Russell says you're an amazing lady warrior, and it sounds like is lady warrior, is that one of your
That's
kind
my
of
title I
mantras?
give everybody. Yeah, because in 1992, no, 91, 92, I got my first done and I wanted a ladies only class because those days no women really entered into a dojang full of men. So I wanted to do something where I could get women in. I was a black belt now. Um, and I think I was Edan when I actually opened the club. Um, and I said to Mascon, I just want to open a small club just to encourage women because a lot of the mothers wanted to come, but they said, no, 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 we can't do it with them men and them young guys in there. They look so good. So then I started off and it was a big hit because in the 90s, not many women over here would go to a martial arts class. So I started off, it was a success. And then I gave the title of all my ladies, my lady warriors, and it just stuck. And that's how it is. And we did our first lady seminar 2018, yeah, 2018. And it was a big hit. And the t-shirt said GB Tang Soo Do Lady Warriors. So that's the title. And that's all the ladies that do World Tang Soo Do are Lady Warriors to me.
That's great. Um, let's see. We got a question from Dana Clay. She's here in Region 8. She asks, and this might be part of that, what is one of your most memorable accomplishments? And you kind of talked about that. You had quite a few, well, at least in my opinion, you have quite a few, starting that Lady Warriors class, getting your
Yes,
shot
yeah.
on and getting your ode on. And
One that I never, like I said, I didn't ever believe in myself, but I went to my first world championship in my hometown of Philadelphia in 1990. Yeah, 1990. First world championship. I was scared to death. I was nervous, sick. I didn't like to compete. But Mascon said, if you're coming with the team, you got to compete. So I was a Chodan bow and I was a nervous wreck. And I actually got, I think, second place in sparring. I never thought I'd get anywhere. So that trophy, when I went to bed at night, it stayed in the hotel room on the side by me, and I just kept looking at it. So that was a real memorable moment for me because I never had confidence and I didn't like competing. And every time I competed, I felt sick and for days and was shaking, but I won, and that just made me so proud of myself because being Mascon's wife, you were always in the spotlight. People expect you to be this amazing, martial artist, but I was just an average Joe like everybody else. So yeah, that would be one memorable moment. And obviously getting my Chodan was another one because that I never thought I'd ever get black belt. So yes, I've got many, but those are like very special, memorable moments. So thanks for asking.
yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about, you mentioned Noreen, and we saw the picture of her as an orange belt. Did she start training before you, or was it
No,
about?
Noreen started. Well, she used to go to class with Dad, so Noreen went with Dad at first. I was there, obviously. I did all the admin. I sat. I think she started when she was about 3. So yeah, probably just before me, 3 or 4. And then she was sparring one day, and one of the boys kicked her because there's not many girls either. She was the only girl. She used to spar with boys in the championship, so we had not many girls. So some boy kicked her, and that was it. Noreen was quitting. I'm never doing that again. And so she had about a 3.5, 4 year break. And then when she was 7, one day, she said, I want to go back and I want to do training again. And I said, no, because you quit. There's no, you don't need to go back just yet. And then she said, no, I really want to do it. So I said, you got to promise me you're not going to quit this time. So she came, she was really enjoying it. Then she wanted sparring gear. And I said, no, you have to prove to me that you're not going to quit. I wanted to give her some incentive to stay. So she proved to me, and the rest is history because I started and she joined after me again. So she's a little bit behind me. But it was so nice to have her with me along the journey because, having your child, we used to be, as she got into teenage years, we used to be partners when we did stretching, and she always had my back, I had her back. And then the others, if you were from the age of 6 months old, I think Master Khan had her doing stretching. As soon as she could sit up, he had her doing sit-ups. I got many pictures where she's only teeny tiny and he's making holding her feet, making her do sit-ups. She was going to be his karate child, regardless, you know. So as soon as we could get a dobok for her, she had a dobok on. So yes, it was in her blood as it was in Aisha's and Soph's blood. But they're different children. Each child's different. Um, Aisha did it because mom did it. Mom teached a ladies class and she just came. And same with Soph. In fact, so I carried Soph for 9 months while I was teaching. Till the day before I had her, I was teaching. Um, and they've just been, it's part of their life. Maybe along the way they didn't enjoy it, but it became a love to them as well. So yeah, Noreen was after me. But obviously she's much better than I am because she was young and had more confidence and she had parents to guide her on her journey and be there for her. And that's what I wanted, you know. I wanted them to be part of this because they would be like I was, a Tang Soo Do widow, but they would just be children of a mother and father that did this. And I didn't want that. I wanted us to be a unit and a family unit of Tang Soo Do, which portrayed to other people that, yes, it's for families, like Grandmaster Shin wanted. So it is a blessing they all train. Aisha joined as my lady warrior, and so did Sophia, or Soph as we call her. But Soph was a different character. You know, she was full of life. She didn't stop from the day she was born. And I got postnatal depression with her. She was a very active child, and she used to come to my ladies' class at the age of 3. I had her there because she was hard work for Master Khan at home, so I thought she'll be fine in the class. And she just used to get the ladies in hysterics, the things she did. So she got to second dan. It took her like, I think it should have been about 5 years. It took her about 6, 7 years to get second dan, maybe 10. I can't even remember. And then she went off to university. And then she's here and there, wants to come back, and she will in her own time. It's in her blood. There's no pushing to her. Master Aisha stayed on that journey. She got her side down as much as she's like me. She didn't have confidence. She's quite nervous, but she's a fighter. She's a tough girl. She's very much like her dad, built like her dad, strong like her dad. They're all strong in their own way, but she's a mini Master Khan in her physique and her strength. So they're good, and it's so nice. And like I said to you, the quote I love, I don't know who actually, it's a World Tang Soo Do quote, and whoever actually came up with it, I love it. And I don't know if they're still with us or not, but it was the family that kicks together, sticks together. And it is so true. You know, through all the hard times we've had, especially with me, my depression and stuff, we stuck together. And people around us stuck together. And I know many families who train with us and with their ups and downs, Tang Soo Do kept them going. So it's a blessing if your family can train, but not everybody loves it like we do. So it's not for everyone, but I'm grateful that it was for me. And what I hated became my love and became my family's love and my girls' love. And, you know, they're on the journey. Master Noreen teaches her own class. Master Aisha has tiny tigers. So it's all part of our life. We wouldn't know what to do without it. When we went into this lockdown, we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We go out every day to teach. But I said, we're not going to be beaten. We'll do virtual. Master Khan was a dinosaur, as Grandmaster Shin would call him. And he didn't want to do virtual, but now he's a pro at virtual. So he's a virtual teacher pro. So yeah. So Noreen started before me, and then I started it after she quit. So not far behind me though.
It's a great story. I have a couple of parents that waited until their kids were first degree and second degree black belts, and look back now and it's like, why did I wait so long? And it's like, it's okay. You started. Yeah. That's the important part.
That's the main thing. I think we all regret, you know. I always say, I wish I started younger. A lot of us say that, but no, I think there's a time and place. You're meant to start when you're meant to start. And, you know, that just be grateful I did start. You know, I've met so many beautiful souls. You know, I would have never been in contact with half the people. I obviously would have come to championships and stuff, but you don't have that same connection if you're just spectating. So, yeah.
You talked about as far as Great Britain Tang Soo Do, you talked about always being organized. Are you still the secretary?
Yeah, I'm secretary, and it's an honor. I feel honored all these years. We've been with World Tang Soo Do for 36 years, and from day one, I was there, and I wouldn't know what to do without doing this job. I know sometimes it is stressful. I'm not saying it's not, but I get such a great feeling of achievement. And something I want to say that Grandmaster Shin said to me. When you fill out your questionnaire as a samdan for your sadan to move on, I filled it out and it said, "What is your speciality?" And I said to Master Khan, "I'm sorry, but I don't have anything I specialize that I know of." He said, "Yes, you do. You put your organization skills and your admin skills." And I said, "But that's not no special technique, you know?" He goes, "No, you put that." So having put that, Grandmaster Shin, Maggie Gonski, who was the chief operation officer at the time, who I was friends with, did she call me or she sent me an email and said, "Oh, the next EU Masters Clinic, Grandmaster Shin wants you to organize." And I just froze. I thought, oh my God, he's asked me to organize a Masters Clinic. Even though in the background, in the behind the scenes, I did things, but never organized the whole thing. So I thought, okay. So that night I laid in bed, I couldn't sleep, thinking, okay, I got to do this. Grandma Shin said I got to do it. So I organized it in Cambridge University. Grandmaster Bodwin came that time. God bless his soul. And he was a lot of fun. And after it was a huge success, thank God. I wouldn't have it anyway because I'm such a perfectionist. I would have probably been up all night and all day before the clinic to make sure it went right. But Grandmaster Shin sent me a personal letter, all typed by him. And he said, "I just want to say you did a great job of organizing the EU Mass Clinic." And we were in our infancy order organizing these at the time. And you did better, and I was only a Samdan still. You did better than any big shot master could have done. And I thought, wow, I have that letter. I don't know where I've put it. I saved it. And I thought, wow, Grandmaster Shin said, I did better than these masters can do. And that was all I needed. And I thought, wow. So I love to organize, but I'm a perfectionist and sometimes too much of a perfectionist. And I'm my worst enemy when it comes to it. But I don't know, it's in my blood. Like I said to you, from junior high, when I got to work in the school office, I got a buzz from it, and I just do. I love things to go right and be good, and I don't know, maybe because I was a child and I never got told by my parents that you've done a good job or whatever. I don't know. It's just I've always been that way from the age of 3. I can remember I was organizing, and I wanted to be a teacher. That was my goal in life. So I had my mom buy me a desk, and that was all organized and had a blackboard, chalkboard, and that, everything was organized. And then I went, funny enough, fate, taking a different route, talking about teaching. I'm bilingual, so I can speak Master Khan's language. I was never taught. I just picked it up, and I can speak fluently. It's just another blessing, really. I think it's fate. But I got asked to come and be what they used to call a special needs assistant at the school where my girls worked by the principal. He said, "You're bilingual. I need someone to come and help." So in those days, you didn't have to have an interview or anything. That was in like the late 80s, early 90s. So I worked there and worked there for 10 years. And then I quit because with organizing association and everything, it got a bit too much. I was working full time and doing this. But long story short, so I loved working at school. I thought I always wanted to be a teacher. This is the next best thing, really. So I worked with children with special needs and organized programs for them and stuff. And anyhow, one day I was talking to one of the parents in Tang Soo Do. We were just having a casual talk when the kids were having a break. And I said, she said something to me, and I said, or the father, I said, I always wanted to be a teacher. That was my dream in life. And they turned around and said to me, "But you are a teacher." And I said, "No, I'm not a teacher." "Well, what do you think you're doing here?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I guess I see myself as an instructor, but They said, no, you're a teacher. And I said, yeah, I am. I achieved my goal, you know? So yeah, I don't know what the question was, but I rooted off that way. But it is organizing. I love it. I love organizing. I love teaching. I love to just help people and give to people. So that's me, you know, that's how I am. And I will organize anything. I will attempt to. And then I pass those genes down to Master Noreen because she's really good. So
Well, Master Dan Fairley said that the first clinic that you did was, I guess he was there. He said it was amazing. So.
oh, he was amazing. He came with my Grandmaster Bourbon, you know, and that memory of Grandmaster Bourbon I'll never forget. I don't know if Master Fraley remembers it. We were in Cambridge University. It's a very posh or fancy place, as they call it here, posh. And the waitress was serving us tea in an English teapot, as they do. And she went away, and we were all socializing. This was the Black Belt Master's dinner. Okay, so that was the last graduation, the dinner. So we have a dinner when we have graduation. So the waitress is all gone. They kind of cleaned up. They left their little trolley cart thing that they served the tea on. And we were all sitting, socializing. Next thing, Grandmaster Baldwin gets up, gets the teapot, and was going around to us all saying, can I get you a cup of tea? And it was so hilarious. And you never seen him. I never seen him like that before. Because my first memory of him was in 1992 when we were it was the after party of the championship in San Diego, and they had a yacht. We went on this yacht. And him and Master Khan were in deep conversation, and Master Khan didn't want to know nothing. He was just so absorbed in his conversation that we weren't even he wasn't even aware we were there. So then Grandmaster Bourbon Noreen had some popcorn and she spilled it. And he jokingly said to her, you need to pick that up. Well, she started crying. She got scared. So we never really connected with him again until he came over. So it was so nice to see him in that kind of light, that he's such a nice, kind, caring, funny, he was a master then. And that clinic, he actually did a session, one of the breakout sessions. So he was in this little room on the side, and I wanted to go to his session. So he shut the door. I forget what he was teaching, but he said, hey guys, should we just not teach and I tell you some stories about Grandmaster Shin? Of course, we all said yeah. So we sat down and he told us so many good stories. But he said at the end, if anyone asks you what you learned, you got to tell them, make up something that you learned. So, you know, and those were great memories to cherish. And after that, our bond got so different from 1992, from that thing, because he didn't really talk much. He just talked to Master Khan. So from the time he started coming over here, well, from 2003 onwards, we got so close and we really got to know the true Grandmaster Baldwin. But that was his first trip here. And yes, Master Fraley was with him. It was the first time I tested for my Sadan. We had 3 tests. And Grandmaster Baldwin was on my panel for that. So yeah, that was nice. And that's first time I got to meet Master Fraley. It was really good times. And Master Wick was there. God bless his soul.
Excellent. Well, believe it or not, we're a little over an hour.
I thought so, because I like to talk.
That's okay.
I like to share because, like, our students probably don't know half of my childhood.
Sure.
So it's nice for them to know. So I appreciate the opportunity because I probably don't ever think I'll do something like this again. So thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap up?
I just like to share being part of the family of everyone around the world, to be honest with you, and all the journeys, all the people on Facebook with me. I hope to meet everyone in person because the World Championship is our meeting time, but we didn't get to do that. And I just hope we don't lose any more of our warriors during this time. That's my prayer for everyone. We all stay healthy till we meet again and safe. And I think let's carry on this journey. And I thank Grandmaster Strong, especially for standing in them. Them shoes are not easy to stand in. But we're behind him 100%, 110%. You know, I'm sure he didn't want to step up to that very demanding role, but he's doing an amazing job of keeping us all together. And may he continue, and may World Tang Soo Do continue to stay strong. We've got through this pandemic, and I'm sure Grandmaster Shannon Grandmaster Baldwin will be super proud of all his World Tang Soo Do students. So let's say here's to the future when we can get together again. I miss everyone. There's so many people I looked forward to seeing at this World Championship, but maybe next year, next 2022, we can get together again. So
Awesome.
my love to everyone, my World Tang Soo Do brothers and sisters around the world. And hopefully we'll all meet one day, but please stay safe and healthy.
Excellent. Yeah, one of the things about the pandemic that I've had the opportunity to connect with, had it not been this, I wouldn't have had a chance to talk to you or Master Khan or Master Carter. That was one of the things I really treasure, is being able to connect with people. So thank you again for joining me.
Well, thank you. Like I said to you, thank you for doing this. I've learned a lot about a lot of people I didn't even know about, really. So thank you. It's, it takes time and organizing too, which you're great at organizing, I can see. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Oh, okay. Well, I really appreciate it. And thank you for selecting me.
Absolutely. I'll leave you with this. Master Khan messaged me that he said, Dawn, you're the best of the best. So we'll finish with that. So
it's nice. The world knows he feels that way. Thank you. Right. I try the best. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right. Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Love to everybody. Thanks for joining us. And one day we'll see you if I haven't seen you. Take care. Tang Soo.
Thanks, Sue.